You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And man, we wanted that second half surge, but the Giants, they're giving us that second half skid as they fall again to the Dodgers. Tonight's final score 5-2, and the Giants offense, man, I mean, what is there left to say? Aside from Tyler Fitzgerald, they just flat out are terrible right now. Just a dumpster fire since the All-Star break. Just today was no different at the dish. 1-for-9 with runners in scoring position. Flat out won't get it done. This comes on the heels of going hitless last night with runners in scoring position. This team just doesn't have whatever it is. They just look so flat right now, and it is so painful to watch this team go out there and continuously lose games to who the heck, Landon Knack? Who is this guy, and why does he look like Clayton Kershaw when he's just playing against the Giants and then just looks like an average dude against everybody else? What is going on? This is so unbelievably frustrating. We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. We rebranded that a while ago. Come on, Triple E. Please hit that subscribe button right now if you aren't subscribed already. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you get the show, we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. And this episode of the Locked On Giants Postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. And this is just pathetic, honestly. Like, this offense looks terrible. I mean, they kind of got something going there in the night. They brought the tying run to the plate, and they brought the winning run to the plate. It was 5-2, and they had the bases juiced with Lamont Wade at the dish. But did we really think that was going to be a comeback there? I mean, I didn't. I can tell you right now, I was right in the lead for this show while that was happening. I had zero faith that the Giants were actually going to be able to pull that one out. Tyler Fitzgerald is the only guy with, an eye for the ball apparently right now. Everyone else not bringing a bat to the yard. Fitzgerald, we should say, hit his fifth home run in as many games as he's played. 5 consecutive games with a home run for Tyler Fitzgerald. Came in the top of the second. However, the Dodgers already had 2 runs on the board. And of course, because it's a Giants home run, it was a solo home run, because why wouldn't it be? If the Giants are hitting a home run, guaranteed going to be a solo. No one's getting on base on this team right now. So Fitzgerald, his 5th game in a row with a home run. Dude is just on fire right now. 2-1 Dodgers lead, 104 miles an hour off the bat, and over that left field wall. Fitzgerald, man, dude is just balling right now. I mean, he had that great play at shortstop last night, and I mean, this is his 6th home run of the year, and he's hit 5 in 5 games in a row. So this guy obviously just needs to keep playing right now. I mean, maybe even sprinkle in a Tyler Fitzgerald home run on anytime home run on FanDuel. I mean, that guy is that hot right now that you might want to go ahead and take a whiff at that if you want, but the Dodgers, man, the way they got those 2 runs early on was very frustrating. Started this game out with back-to-back strikeouts against Ohtani and Will Smith. That looked really nice. But then Jordan Hicks hits Freddie Freeman, a free 90. Then a wild pitch gives him second base for free, another free 90. Then he walks Teoscar Hernandez, another free 90, which, the free 90s given up to the other team equates to great things for the Giants a lot of times. We know this. I'm being as sarcastic as I can possibly be right now. And then another wild pitch. So we got 2 free passes and 2 wild pitches in the same inning. Moves runners to second and third. And Gavin Lux, who has just been terrible all season long, except for when he's playing the Giants, hits a double. And this guy went 2 for 4 today with 2 RBIs. And this guy on the season is batting .226 with an OPS of .612. He's basically Wilmer Flores. And this guy just comes up and rips a double to give the Dodgers a 2-0 lead right away in the bottom of the first there. So Giants were trying to climb back from that and never got close, really. After that Fitzgerald bomb, I mean, the Giants did nothing at the plate today. Nothing. I mean, They ended up drawing some walks there in that last inning to kind of make it look a little closer. I mean, Soler drew a couple walks today to make his slash line look not terrible. Still 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, but at least he drew those 2 walks. It's been really bad, man. I mean, you're looking for hits. They only came from 2 people. Only 2 people on the Giants were able to come up with hits today. They had 5 hits as a club. And this is more of what we've been talking about. Like, you can't get more than like 3 or 4 guys at most hitting for this team. So when one of them slumps, this offense is terrible. I mean, right now, the only 2 people who got a hit today were obviously Tyler Fitzgerald, as we just said, and Elliot Ramos. Fitzgerald had 3 hits. He went 3 for 3 today with a walk, a bomb, a couple of RBIs, a run scored, and nobody else on this team can do anything. Fitzgerald, by the way, slashing a cool 322 with a 990 OPS. I mean, dude is red hot right now and just needs to be in the lineup every single day until he cools off the way that this offense has been going. He also needs to move up in the order. I want him ahead of Conforto. I want him ahead of Chapman. I mean, maybe even ahead of Bailey. I mean, this guy's been so good lately. You cannot keep him down in the bottom half of the order. You just can't right now. The way that the rest of this lineup is hitting, this guy needs to move up and get more at bats, because obviously he needs to be at the plate more if he's the only one. I mean, getting on base for this team. First base runner in what felt like forever in the top of the 7th after the Dodgers took a 4-1 lead. I forgot about this. Ohtani ripped a double with after a walk and a single, put 2 runners on, scored both of them. And you know what? Right before that, there was a Kike Hernandez strikeout. And that felt kind of good. It was like, okay, maybe the Giants got something going here. Maybe they'll get out of this. But that's what happens when you have players in your lineup like Shohei Ohtani, like Will Smith, like Teoscar Hernandez, and not just one guy that you have to worry about and pitch around. I mean, right now with the Giants, it's like, just don't really pitch to Tyler Fitzgerald and Elliot Ramos, and you'll probably be okay. You could just kind of nibble at those guys, maybe walk them a few times if your corner strikes aren't getting called, and just live with the results of everybody else, because this Giants lineup is just not scary to anybody. I mean, look at the last 2 Dodgers pitchers that have gone out there. What was the last name? Was it Rivers or something? I mean, one of Phillip Rivers, like 500 children, maybe? I don't know. Who knows? Because I sure as hell don't know who this guy is. In making his MLB debut looking like Madison Bumgarner out there. And then out comes Landon Knack today. And this guy, who is this guy? Who are either of these Dodgers pitchers? I am certainly not very familiar with them. And I know some hardos out there probably going to rip me for that, but I mean, Landon freaking Knack goes 5 innings of 2-hit ball against you with 6 strikeouts and 2 walks. Come on. I mean, the guy's got a 3.07 ERA this year, so he's apparently been okay. But I'm so sick and tired of these absolute nobody pitchers from the Dodgers going out and looking like Cy Young candidates every single time they play the Giants. Dodger Stadium has been a house of horrors. We use that term for Coors a lot, but my God, Dodger Stadium is, I mean, we all know what Dodger Stadium is. We all know the hostility that goes down there, the borderline violence that happens down there. I mean, I have been to Dodger Stadium to see a Giants-Dodgers game there, and it went fine. I mean, honestly, like, I went with a bunch of, we had a mixed group, some Dodgers fans, some Giants fans, and everything was fine. But you could feel the tension, the hostility in the air for sure. And it's a little more than just like rivalry bad blood. So we get how this stadium already feels. And then when the Giants just go down there and fall so flat and look so bad and just just the ass kicked out of them every single time. It is so unbelievably frustrating. And I mean, you get the Oregon going, you get the stupid beach balls and the wave. Oh my God, my 2 least favorite things to see in all of baseball. That is not what baseball games are for. If you want the beach ball and waves, go to the beach. You live in LA, you're not that far. So, I mean, I digress. I just hate losing to the Dodgers, man. I hate this so much. And at least when they lose close games, they're competitive. We can have things to build on. They're afraid. Honestly, there was nothing to build on for today. Jordan Hicks did not look very good. He looks like he needs to not be a starter anymore going forward. He looks like he needs to move to the bullpen. Thankfully, you got guys coming back from injury. You had Blake Snell come back, and he looks pretty good. You got Robbie Ray coming back tomorrow, which is something I guess to look forward to. But is there really enough time? You're 48 and 54. I mean, the fat lady's not singing, but she's sure as hell warming up. I mean, this season is winding down quickly. We are almost in August. I mean, you got like 2 months left. It is, if you don't turn it on now, when are you gonna? The Giants need to start winning games. They need to start winning right now. Right now. Jordan Hicks, he did have 7 strikeouts today. We should mention that. He also had 5 walks. Gave up 3 hits and 4 earned runs. That's what happens when you give a bunch of 5 free 90s. That's basically a free run right there all by itself. Almost 2 free runs all by itself. So, I mean, it's a tough day for the Giants. The bullpen, I mean, they didn't really give up very many runs. Randy Rodriguez didn't do great, but the bullpen sure had a lot of traffic on the bases today. Ironically, the one guy to pitch a clean inning in today's game is my favorite guy, Luke Jackson. So, hey, Luke had a little bit of redemption tonight. He had 2 Ks and a clean hitless inning. Only Giants pitcher to do that today, it seemed like. So, shout out Luke Jackson, I guess. That's your one bright spot for today. Him and Tyler Fitzgerald. And if that's not saying something based on how this Giants season has gone, I don't know what is, man. The Giants 1 for 9 at the dish. Don't really do anything very well today. I mean, they had an error in the field. I mean, this is just not a good game, man. Not competitive, not good. Just not good. I mean, you got the looming trade deadline too. So many bad permutations come from this game. We'll get into it all on the other side. Got to take a quick break here on the Locked On Giants postcast. We'll get into all the permutations of this really bad loss. And are the Giants really going to get swept? I'm kind of getting that feeling, man. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. This episode of the Locked On Giants postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you've always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about your rival cities with hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com. You might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival's city. We have the best park in the bigs here in the city by the Bay, Oracle Park. You already know. But it's fun to go out on the road and see the Giants. If you're looking for a little adventure, start checking out some other MLB stadiums. I know I want to eventually get to all of them at least once, even Dodger Stadium. And you guys already heard me say, bug just flew in my face. What the heck? And you guys already heard me say that I've already been down to Dodger Stadium. And it was an okay experience, honestly. I was surrounded by, I had a lot of friends. I went to Cal Poly. If you guys watch the show, you know this. And obviously it's a, Central California, melting pot of sports fans from the North Bay and from the Bay Area in general and from LA. And it's still got some Dodgers fans, friends, unfortunately. But we all went down there. We had a great time. It is Dodger Stadium. Take precaution, but you can still have a good time out there for sure. And LA has plenty of things to do in the summer. You just don't need to tell me you don't need me to tell you how to have fun in LA in the summertime. I know you guys are all over that. From hotels that overlook stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this MLB season. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com on the site or in the Booking.com app. And today's show is also sponsored by FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and the sports just aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. And all I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And you guys know, pretty much always in the mood, man. I mean, today I got in I spread some stuff all around today. I mean, I had some parlays going. I had everything working, and absolutely none of it hit. And absolutely none of it hit. Damn Orioles sold me on this one time. All I had to do was get an Orioles money line win over the Marlins. That was a lock, man. I can't buy a win right now on FanDuel, but there's always tomorrow. And this summer, all summer long, FanDuel is hooking up customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. I'm just taking a peek here at the chat, and I mean, the number one question in the chat that I see is are we going to sell? Are the Giants going to sell? And what's going to happen at the trade deadline? I mean, I think I see Nate Edelman in the chat right there. Are we sellers? Question mark. Yes. I think at this point, the Giants are definitively moving into seller territory. I mean, they are sliding big time heading into the trade deadline. This was the time to turn it on out of the break. If this team didn't get it going now, I mean, the time is running out. I mean, you don't have the whole season to turn it on, because if you aren't playing well by the trade deadline, Farhan's already come out and plainly said, plain as day, on KMBR, on the Murph and Marcus show, my old stopping grounds with my old buddies, came out, didn't disguise it at all. He said, if the Giants aren't winning, we got to trade some guys. And I think everybody, I mean, there's a huge contingency, obviously, of this fan base who, just wants Farhan gone, has wanted him gone since the moment he got here. And I think for a lot of those guys, Farhan could never do anything to win them over. And a lot of those dudes have just been kind of looking and waiting for this moment, I feel like. But also, dude deserves a lot of the blame. And I mean, I'm a pretty mild-mannered, I think, level-headed, even temperament Giants fan for the most part, except for when they lose to the Dodgers. I come on here and I bitch and moan for 30 minutes. But I mean, as far as like the team go, like I'm not sitting here saying fire Farhan every 5 minutes or Bob Melvin makes a bad move and we got to get rid of him after half a season, or I'm not judging, Jorge Soler's contract based on the first, 2 months of it. You got to look at the whole body work. But at this point, it's impossible to say anything about Farhan Zaidi's body of work other than it's been subpar. And that's being kind of nice. You had one season where you lucked into 107 wins, which I don't know how you luck into 107 wins, but apparently the Giants did it. I mean, that is the most, if you had to pick one season, that's just the most like strange outlier season for any ball club ever. I think that's probably the weirdest one. Not just in Giants history, but like out of all of baseball teams' weird seasons that they've had, that might be the single weirdest season for any baseball team in any single season. You got lucky. You got lucky. And the system worked for a little bit. The numbers game worked for a little bit, but over time, it didn't. And I really do wonder how this fan base would view that differently, myself included, if they didn't have that season. I mean, I think Farhan would have been, if that season didn't go well, like they did pretty much what they did every other year under the Farhan regime and go 500 or worse in that 107 win season. Right now, we'd be talking about very seriously, not just the loud contingency of the fan base who is always disgruntled, but everybody would be talking about Farhan being on the hot seat. And I mean, he's for sure on the hot seat at this point in time. But it's not, is it burning? Is he like in gonna lose his job territory after they just gave him an extension this last offseason? I don't know, man. It's a mixed bag. You look at what the prospects have done. Yes, not all of them are Farhan draft prospects. I understand that. A lot of those are Sabian holdovers, but they're still coming up in the system that Farhan has kind of constructed and crafted, the minor league system with Farhan's guys in coaching positions. And some of them are holdovers, very few at this point, though. It's been a while since the Sabes days, and I mean, at this point, though, if we hit this trade deadline and the Giants are sellers, I think that definitively is Farhan saying this has not been a success so far. This has been a failure. And I don't know if he loses his job after this season, but if he doesn't and the Giants are sellers at the deadline, dude's got exactly one more year left. Otherwise, he's got to go. And I think everybody, even the most reasonable, mild-mannered, like long leash Giants fan could agree to that. I mean, if you go, how many years would that be since like 2018? So like 7 years with no playoff wins. I think what are we going to wait for a decade before we say, let's move on? I think at that point, it would be the right time to move on from Farhan. I know a lot of people are going to say if the Giants don't make the playoffs this year, he's got to go. But I do respect one thing. I think that it's a very good thing that he's going to do something at the trade deadline. You remember last year's trade deadline? My take on this is that he's got to do something. If he does something at the trade deadline, let it buy him an extra year. If the Giants are sellers at the trade deadline, they get a bunch of prospects back. Let's see what those guys look like for part of next season and just see what they look like. If there's anything that he gets back from that deadline or that they have waiting in the wings to lift this team up next year, let's see how those prospects play out. And if it doesn't work, then dude's got to go. I mean, I have had a pretty long leash with this guy. I think a lot of people have. A lot of people haven't, but a lot of people that I talk to around the industry have had a pretty long leash with this guy, are kind of getting tired of him. And I'm for sure in that camp now too. I mean, it's not been like an overnight decision, but I mean, you got to look at the whole body of work, man. I'm not sitting here saying you got to fire him today. I'm not sitting here saying you got to fire him at the end of the season. But if this guy, I mean, if we have another trade deadline, like AJ Pollock last year was the big name. Big name. I mean, if the Giants go out and do something like that again, sure, get rid of the guy at the end of the year, because he clearly doesn't know how to put together a roster or have a pulse or a feel for anything going on in the franchise if they choose to just stand pat yet again. If they do something, anything, they go out and add a bat, if they go out and get Bo Bichette, if they sell, I don't know, Doval, and they go get some prospects back, like, let's see what happens at this deadline. And maybe he can salvage something. I mean, this has got to be for Farhan. If you're Farhan Zaidi, you're shooting every shot that you got. Like, you aren't holding anything back anymore. You got to let it all fly, throw everything at the wall. I mean, shoot every shot you got if you're Farhan. Like, every favor that you've ever earned goodwill on from other organizations, you call in that favor right now. Try and get a deal done to make this team better, whether that's better by adding a bat now that can help the team now, or better by getting rid of some of the excess fat on the team now and adding prospects for the future. Those are both ways of making this team better. But one way that this team does not get better is if they go and make another lateral move, like going to get a guy like AJ Pollock and do absolutely nothing, or Paul DeYoung. You guys remember that too? That was fun. I just want to see the Giants do something. I want to see them be in the mix. I want to see them be competitive. I want to see this team back in the playoffs. And it just seems so far away, man. It seems so far away. And I know the wild card is still, at least for now, in striking distance. If the Giants keep free falling, who knows how much longer they'll be in striking distance for that wild card spot. But I just want to see this team compete, man. I just want to see them get close. And they just feel so far away right now. So far away. We got to take a quick break here. On the other side, more from this one. I don't even know which direction we're going to go. I just have so much disdain for losses against the Dodgers. It makes it hard to think, makes my brain cloudy. All I want to do is come on here and say 4-letter words repeatedly that I'm not allowed to say on my show if I want to keep my job. So let's take a quick break. I'll reset my foggy brain of anger due to the Dodgers loss, or the Giants loss to the Dodgers. And we'll come back on the other side and figure out what else from this super fun loss to the Dodgers we're going to break down. Stick with us here on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. And today's show is also sponsored by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 5 million members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections for a chance to win 100 times your money. There's no better way to cash in on the post-All-Star break MLB action than PrizePicks. Add your favorite players from the diamond to your PrizePicks lineup all season long, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. Take your pick of more or less and add them to your PrizePicks lineup today. And you know what? Today, Paul Skeens was on the mound for the Pirates, and they had a Taco Tuesday going, man. The 5.5 was the more or less for Skeens? I had to go with the more, man. Of course, Skeens is doing that. And, Teoscar Hernandez has kind of been on a tear. I had a feeling he's probably going to get more than 1.5 bases. Unfortunately for the Giants, he did. But fortunately for my wallet, he did. See, you can't lose both ways if you bet on the enemy. I'm not advocating that everyone bets for the Dodgers, but, had a feeling with tonight, the way the Giants have been playing. And you can now win up to 100 times your money with baseball-only lineups on PrizePicks. If you submit a winning lineup featuring 4 Demon Squares, you'll cash in big time on the biggest moments of baseball's early season. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. It's PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. And man, we got to run through this terrible Giants offense a little bit more. I mean, I just want to give you guys some numbers as to how awful this team has been lately. They have yet to score more than 3 runs since the All-Star break in any single game. Seems like they get worse every night because they only scored 2 tonight and barely, almost 1 run. Over the last 7 games, they have an average of 2.5 runs per game. Their batting average is below 200, 198. They're still trying to get off the interstate as a team. Their average with runners in scoring position, you think it couldn't get worse. Oh, but it can. Only 171. That's lower than 178. Both of those really bad numbers. On base percentage, 263. That's not very good either. Slugging, 344. OPS 606. It's basically like every batter on the Giants has turned into Wilmer Flores. And I'm not talking 2023 Wilmer Flores. I'm talking 2024 Wilmer Flores, who just can't seem to buy a hit. And this is rough. This is, such a bad stretch for the Giants. And today, Jordan Hicks did not look very good either. He has become a completely different pitcher at this point. He's not even using the splitter. He's just, he threw it 10 times today. He's using pretty much every other pitch. He used the sweeper 30 times and the sinker 44. So, he's using the splitter almost as infrequently as his 4-seamer. A night and day difference from where this pitch was at the beginning of the season. And it's really affected Hicks as a pitcher. And I wonder if that's just wearing on his arm, if that one pitch is. But when you got a guy out there that is laboring, and we know Hicks has been laboring recently, you got to give him some run support. And yes, he did have a nice long 11-day rest since his last start. But dude's still throwing a career high in innings and pitches, and this offense needs to go support their guy. They did not do that at all. It's been really rough. They're batting under 100 with runners in scoring position since the All-Star break. That's also not very good. They went over 7 last night with runners in scoring position and are just 2 for 21 in such situations in the first 4 games of this road trip. Now adding to that, they are just 3 for 30. 3 for 30 with runners in scoring position. And some of those games were at Coors Field. I am baffled by how bad this team has been. They've been held to 3 runs or fewer in each of their last 6 games and 7 of their last 8. They're averaging 3.63 runs per game this month. That's 23rd out of 30 teams in baseball. This is really frustrating, man. And they can't get hits. They're not. Today they did do a better job of drawing walks. If you want to point to one thing that they did better today that they didn't really do on other days, it was drawing walks. Until like the 9th inning, you had, I think, like 3 or 4 at-bats with runners in scoring position all night long. They just seemed out of it, completely non-competitive in this game. And against a team like the Dodgers, that's incredibly frustrating, especially, the 7 consecutive losses at Dodger Stadium. They're now 3-8 versus the Dodgers this year. And I'm telling you, man, I'm feeling a sweep coming on. As much as I hate saying those words out loud, I don't know how the Giants win a game at Dodger Stadium this season. I really don't. They just look so terrible down there. They look so overmatched. Dodger Stadium is so loud, and it feels like they know it. feels like every single person in that stadium, fans included, players included, coaches, I mean, camera operators, every single person, all the birds flying around. And in LA, you don't get cool, like, pelicans, you get dumb looking pigeons. But I mean, every single living, breathing thing at Chavez Ravine just knows Giants aren't winning here. And I tell you what, man, that Giants team, they look like they know it too. You heard Dwayne Kuiper on the pregame today. If you're watching on NBC, he said, I just don't want to have any, like Mike Krukow was complaining about how there's no more games no more Giants Dodgers games in September. And Mike Krukow said, or Dwayne Kuiper said, I want to see Giants Dodgers in September. I just want to see absolutely zero of those games at Dodger Stadium. And I completely agree with that sentiment because Giants just can't win there. They turn into like a minor league ball club and just can't hit, can't pitch, can't do anything. They make guys like Landon Knack look like Clayton Kershaw. They all of a sudden got like 5 different Clayton Kershaws in their starting rotation, and not like this year's Clayton Kershaw. I mean, like peak prime, like height of his powers, Clayton Kershaw. So not a fun day, not a fun game out in LA. And the Giants, I mean, they're guaranteed to not win this series. So the best they can do is split now because it's a 4-game series. So I guess we hope for that. Although I got to tell you, if the Giants lose tomorrow, I just might, I don't know. Maybe we just don't watch that 4th game. By the way, speaking of which, that's a bad joke because we actually are not going to be here on Thursday. You guys remember when I took a little hiatus for a bachelor party earlier this year? Well, the corresponding wedding to that bachelor party is on Thursday, which means my friend Justin is now 2 for 2 in really terrible timing things around this wedding. He makes me miss the Yankees series, and now he's making me miss the final Giants-Dodgers game for his freaking wedding, man. I say some people. That's all the time we got for you guys today. Just remember, no postcast on Thursday. We'll come to you live tomorrow still, though, and get game 3 in before taking off. So thanks for joining us. That's all the time we got for you guys today on the Locked On Giants postcast. We'll see you next time. Peace.